Padres. He gone. Swing and a miss on the cutter. It's black versus blue. Game 2 next.
City Beautiful, Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon Comcast Sportsnet presents White Sox baseball. It's Jose Abreu, Avi Garcia, Melky Cabrera, and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Joe Maddon's crosstown rival, Chicago Cubs. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you Game 2 of this 3-game series. If you missed the opener yesterday, it was a good ball game. We won that thing 1-0. And, you know, one of the areas of concern this year, coming out of the blue, really, was terrible defense, which we have had, but not yesterday.
No, the defense has been pretty good lately. The pitching has been spectacular, but good pitching goes with good defense. Gordon Beckham has had an opportunity to play short, second, and third base, and he has been brilliant all over. The double play yesterday with the glove flip was outstanding. Tyler Saladino got into the action, and the game ender was Carlos Sanchez. A terrific play on a line drive off the bat of Chris Coughlin. Hopefully today the defense comes to play.
Well, we have got 2 headliners for you out there, 2 southpaws that are very good.
They're exceptional. It's John Lester for the Cubs and Chris Sale for our ball club. Chris last time out didn't get his 10 strikeouts. What he did do is get a complete game on 6 hits. He was absolutely brilliant, just his 8th career complete game, but right now he's at the top of his game. And John Lester, who's 4-7 this year, threw the ball very well against the Cardinals. Unfortunately, his team didn't get him any runs, and Lester picked up a loss. But his ERA is coming down, and make no mistake, he's their big game pitcher. Theo Epstein got him to pitch in the postseason, and we'll see if they can get there.
Well, our guys have won 8 out of the last 10. Also game 1 of this one, so let's make it game 2 and sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Audi, truth in engineering. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Toyota, see where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. It's an overcast day, but so far the rains have held off, and hopefully they will, because this is a great pitching matchup between John Lester and Chris Sale. So let's take a look at how Robin is going to line up our Sox for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Adam Eaton leading it off with Tyler Saladino for the second time in as many days, starting at third base. And it's Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera, Aviseo Garcia, Alexi Ramirez, who played a brilliant game defensively yesterday and is hitting the ball very well. Tyler Flowers, Carlos Sanchez, and Chris Sale rounded out. The defense and how they'll line up behind John Lester. It's Kristen Orfia, Dexter Fowler, and Jorge Soler in the outfield, with Chris Bryant, Darwin Castro, Addison Russell, Anthony Rizzo in the infield. Miguel Montero gets a start behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is John Lester. Carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning last time out against the Cardinals, only to lose that game. There you look at the numbers. They're pretty good. He has good control. 30 walks, 101 strikeouts in 103 1/3 innings. And left-handers have hit him much better than right-handers. The umpires for the game this afternoon, Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. Mike Everett is at first. Tom Hallion, the crew chief, is at second, and Dan Bellino is at third. The Sox pitching over the last 10 games has been magnificent. They've gone 8-2. The ERA is 191. Opponent's batting average right there at 190. You can see 96 strikeouts in 94 innings. The starter's ERA is just a bit over 2, so you get 8 quality starts. The bullpen ERA is even better than the starters, and that's how you win 80% of your games over the last 10. So they've thrown the ball around the infield, which means we're ready to play baseball, and I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. So happy you could join us for the second of this 3-game set. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As the big left-hander, 6'4", 240. First pitch of the ball game, taken for a strike. Adam comes in hitting it 248, 6 homers, 17 knocked in. Corners in close, looking for a possibility of a bunt.
One of the reasons why they have to play a little closer with John Lester on the mound is he has a hard time throwing to the bases. And if anybody gets on, he's only thrown to first base twice this year with very poor results.
Now Lester, all he is 46 games over 500 in his career by not throwing over to first base.
No, he's been a wonderful pitcher, but you have to take advantage of what he'll give you.
He's got a lot of Mickey Lolich in him, and also his fastball has got a lot of Wilson Alvarez in it. Talking to hitters who face him quite a bit, they say he gets about 15 feet out in front of home plate, and all of a sudden it just jumps at you. That ball hit well into left center field. Stretch! It's off the wall. So the leadoff double. Adam now 5 for 12 lifetime off Lester.
We told you one of the big problems Lester has is that left-hand hitters are hitting 40 points higher than right-hand hitters. And Adam gets a good shot at this high fastball. Menard's pitch tracks will tell you that it's over the plate. It's a little above belt high, and he takes it high off the wall.
So here's Tyler Saladino. He's got a job to do. And Tyler, we haven't seen him that much except in spring training. But when we see him in spring training, he looks like he can get the job done in this situation. He was hitting .255 down at Charlotte. He's an all-purpose player. Got the corners in close. Takes that pitch inside.
No idea to even show a bunt there as he looks down to Joe McEwing. There you look at the numbers at Charlotte in 52 games.
Well, Robin's thinking the same thing I just mentioned. In spring training, he showed he could move the ball to the right side. That predominantly is his swing. And he does, and there's his first major league hit, and that's going to get a gapper. So he's going to turn it on. He's going to move on into third base with a stand-up triple, and it's 1-0 good guys. That's why he didn't bunt him.
First hit, first triple, first run batted in. And this is second game, so he gets a fastball. It's right down the middle. And this one is crushed by Saladino. No chance at all for Soler or Fowler to get to this. And Tyler has big speed, so he makes it easily into third base.
Well, fundamentally, Tyler Saladino is as sound as anybody on our ball club. He knows how to play the game of baseball. He's got a chance to be a good major league player. So now here's Abreu. He's on a 12-game hitting streak. At .297, 14 homers, 45 knocked in.
It forces the infield in at all 4 positions.
Blue play special for a hitter. Outfield, they're bunched fairly short.
And unlike many of the National League teams, our guys have seen a whole lot of John Lester over the course of his career.
And there's a base hit. It's 2-0.
The big advantage of a man at third, when you pull the infield in, normally that's an easy ground ball out to shortstop, but with everybody in, there are no angles at all. And Jose extends the hitting streak by getting a fastball inside and taking it right back up the middle.
That's why it's a blue plate special. And on third, infield in. Less than 2 outs. So here is Cabrera. Melky at 263, 4 homers, 34 knocked in. Just a short lead by Abreu. Nice pick by Miguel Montero. Melky has faced Lester 42 times. Has 12 hits, 11 of which stayed in the ballpark.
I told you that our guys have faced John Lester quite a bit. He's got 11 decisions against the Sox, 6-5 lifetime, but his ERA 4.38. And so far early in this, he has not proven to be a mystery to the hitters.
There's the strike. 2-1 to count.
There you look at the numbers that we just spoke about. Melky has been red hot during his hitting streak.
Ball gets away, so Abreu safe. So there's 1 out.
We talked yesterday about the fact that although he's not the fastest man around, Jose Abreu is as good a base runner as anybody on this team. This ball doesn't get away very far. In fact, it hits off Cabrera and bounds back to Montero. But Abreu recognizes it right away, realizing he can make it in, and he just makes it in ahead of the throw. So that's a big play on a strikeout.
If we can knock him in, those are the kind of plays that really take a lot of wind out of the sails of the opposition.
Especially when the big sail is your mound opponent. You give Chris 3 early, usually in pretty good shape. Or give him 3 at all, and you're in good shape.
Here's Avi at 276, 7 homers, 31 knocked in. That was a wild pitch. That fastball misses outside to Avi. Alexei on deck. Big hat. There's a way off the bag. Over in that hole between first and second.
Pitchers around baseball are starting to realize when they do pitch to Avisail, one of the things they have to worry about is the ball coming back to him, because he does go up the middle quite a bit. He has tremendous velocity off the bat. It's 5th in the American League as far as the baseball and how hard he hits it. So you got to be ready.
That breaking ball misses, and it's 3-1. Not too much. Short stroking right here. 2 hopper. 2 down. So with 2 out, let's check out our picks to click. Banjo, Mike Leary, and the crew. They're going with Tyler Flowers. Steve's going with Sanchez and Mike Spadali, Nick Bristow, Mike Mazza, Ken Wiz, Tommy Eichstadt, Pete Catazon, Laura Arenas, Mary Weiss, Tommy Sheridan and I. We're going to go with the man who just picked up his first major league hit in RBI and run scored, Tyler Saladino.
There's a look at a very happy young man who's already had himself quite a game, and it's only lasted a half an inning.
Pick him up, Alexei. That pitch down low. That curveball evens the count at 1. Gap out there in right center, if he can find it.
There's a whole lot of folks that have found their way over to the north side to root for the Sox.
Three and 1.
I think this is pretty much what Montero told John Lester, that the man up at bat, although the average isn't good right now, Alexei's swinging the bat pretty well. Their first base open. Tyler Flowers coming up next because he hasn't really given him too much to hit to this point.
Well, certainly the first 4 pitches, even that strike back door, looked like it was a pitch around.
No, he's pretty much saying to Alexei, I'll let you get yourself out of the strike zone if you'd like to do that.
That's into center field. Dexter is there, makes the catch, but not before a crooked number goes up on that board. We go to the bottom of the first inning. It is 2-0 good guys.
Illinois. Let's take a look at how Joe Madden is going to line up his Cubs. Dexter Fowler leading it off, and Anthony Rizzo in the 2 spot, followed by Chris Bryant, who's having quite a year. Jorge Soler, Christian Orfia, Starlin Castro, Miguel Montero, John Lester, and Addison Russell rounded out. The defense and how they'll line up behind the All-Star Chris Sale, Melky Cabrera, Adam Eaton, and Abigail Garcia. In the infield, Saladino, Ramirez, Sanchez, and Abreu. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Chris Sale. He's looking for his 8th win of the year, and this is his 17th start. His ERA, a very good 2.80. 147 strikeouts and 112 in the third innings. Pretty impressive with just 22 walks to go with it.
And the first pitch to Dexter Fowler, taken for a strike. That one at 98. Dexter hitting at 228. He's a lot better than that. 8 homers and 25 knocked in. Dexter had a rough day yesterday.
He did indeed. I mean, he was looking a lot. I will say that.
Well, yeah, he was. That popped up, Carlos. And from a baseball standpoint, I felt a little sorry for him. From our standpoint of the game, no, I did not.
No, it was one of those days where he lined into a double play, as well as 3 strikeouts all looking. This is going to be a great confrontation. One of the dominant lefties in baseball against the Cub All-Star, Anthony Rizzo. He's right on top of the plate.
Just off the outside corner. There's a 0 for 2 yesterday, hitting at 294, 16 homers, 48 knocked in.
Again, what we saw when you face all right-hand hitters and just one lefty, it's tough to get the release point.
Especially when that left-hander standing right on top of the dish. It's the back foot that determines that.
And that time he hit it up over the roof, but it was so foul that it was never fair. You got an inside fastball.
Yeah, that never left the batter's box.
No, you have that one. You have no chance of ever keeping fair. And there you see the back foot punishing the back line. Carlos Rondon walked Rizzo the first 2 times up before finally getting him to fly out the 3rd time up.
Yeah, he hit him on the fist. Most pitchers just don't like to face on their arm side guys who stand right on top of the plate on them. When you do that as a young hitter, when you stand close to that plate, now some guys cannot stand close to the plate. They just can't make themselves do it. They got to be off the plate. 98% of them, 99%. But you're going to make that pitcher change. You're going to make him tighten up that breaking ball. He's not going to be able to freewheel that thing on you. Chris can't get it.
Well, that time Chris determined that if he got a fastball and it stayed in the ballpark, he was going to be swinging, because that ball was way out of the zone. And
that's okay. That's better than just looking for the ball off Chris Sale. You look for the ball off Chris, you're probably going to go 0 for 4 with a few strikeouts.
There's only 4 Cubs that have seen Chris Sale: Denorfia, Castro, Ross, and Herrera. That's it. And Herrera's not playing.
1-2.
And Ross is not playing, still feeling the effects of a concussion, so he'll be out for a bit.
This young man, it only took him 70 games to make an all-star team in the major leagues. That's amazing. He got him. 2 down.
The one thing that Chris Bryant is not going to see from anybody else is a backdoor slider that starts over the batter's box of the left-hand hitter and shaves off the outside corner. Menard's pitch tracks, it's a perfect strike. It's just about unhittable for a right-hand hitter, and so Chris Bryant joins a legion of other right-hand hitters that take a look at that and wonder how it ever got in the zone.
Jorge Soler, 265, 4 homers, 20 knocked in. Jorge was 1 for 4 yesterday. And if you missed that game, it was 1-0 Sox. Sox pitchers with 12 strikeouts. That change up down low. High pop up right side. Jose, he's good on these. And that'll retire the side. We'll go to the second, leading 2-0. Lower third of our order: Flowers, Sanchez, and Sale. Tyler 1 for 3 yesterday, comes in at 229, 7 homers and 19 knocked in. And I just got a text. Hawk, who was Mickey Lolich and Wilson Alvarez. Mickey Lolich was a fine left-handed starter for the Detroit Tigers for a long time. In fact, in the 1968 World Series, he was the MVP. He won 3 games. Wilson Alvarez was one of our young pitchers with the White Sox for a long time. Alex Fernandez. Wilson had a great fastball. There's a strike.
Outfield playing straight away. They're giving Tyler both lines, so it's called actually taking away the alleys. If it goes down the line, it's going to be a 2-base hit anyway. They just don't want anything to fall in the gaps.
That's off the glove for Bryant, so it'll be a base hit. That was a rocket.
That looked like a cutter that John Lester tried to get inside on Tyler and couldn't do it. So not only do you face Chris Sale and get absolutely nothing to hit before sitting down, but then the first play of the inning is a 1-hop rocket to the backhand, and he's able to keep it out of left field. That would have been 2 bases. Bryant couldn't make the play, and he wouldn't expect him to. But just the fact that he stopped it from going down the line, he saved 90 feet.
Well, Gordon Beckham may have had problems with that one.
Yeah, that was a blast.
So here's Sanchez back to up the middle and racking up.
2 down.
He got the ground ball he wanted. Castro to Russell, and Russell, a converted shortstop, making the transition to second base, got the throw off, but a nice pick by Rizzo, who has been outstanding at first base this year. He just made 2 errors.
Anthony Rizzo is a very impressive player.
Every aspect of the game. Talk with John Lester, who signed a 6-year deal coming over. And the 6-year deal was for $155 million with a vesting option in 2021. And I asked him, what motivates you now? There's no financial motivation whatsoever. And he said, you know, the money is terrific, obviously, but that's not really the factor, never was. He said, going out there to win. He says, that's what drives me. Going out there each and every day to make the good pitch to win the ball game and eventually get in the postseason. And you're looking at John Lester, one of the better postseason pitchers around, and that's why Theo made the huge commitment to him maybe a year ahead of schedule. He wanted Lester for postseason play.
There's a strike in the count, 3-1. That's going to kick foul. So a full count.
There's a couple of fans who decided to come to the ballpark, enjoy the day, and root for separate teams.
Anytime you can get a 31-year-old left-hander who's 46 games over 500, and you've got a pretty good ball club, which the Cubs do, you got to get it.
Well, one of the things
and they got it.
One of the things that Theo told John was, if you don't sign with us, we'll go back to our original timetable, which was a 5-year plan.
There's a 2-hopper. And that'll retire the side. After an inning and a half, it's 2-0 White Sox.
Game brought to you by Miller Lite.
Starting tomorrow, relive the Blackhawks Stanley Cup title run as CSN brings you all 16 playoff wins over 5 days. A championship journey presented by Chevy. DriveChicago.com and your Chevy dealer. Begins tomorrow night at 7. For schedule information, visit CSNChicago.com. Denorfia, Castro, Montero here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Denorfia has been a handy man to have around. Last year he played at San Diego and Seattle, didn't do especially well, but in a platoon system with Chris Coughlin in left field, it's been a very good righty-lefty combination, and Denorfia's hit the ball well.
That's Coughlin has.
Cobb went in the game yesterday with a rocket after getting a base hit rocket before in the at bat before. He only had 2 of them.
One-0 pitch. North will be 35 years old in 4 days. Watching him take batting practice. He's a young-looking 34. Bat speed-wise. There's the first hit.
The Northview got that fastball out away. It's on the outside corner, and even though it's 97, if it's belt high, a lot of hitters are going to hit a line drive, even against Chris Sale.
You got to keep Chris Sale, from a right-handed hitting standpoint, off your hands with the fastball and the slider.
As soon as you see anything out away, that's a pitch with a fastball you got to go get.
That's why you got to back off the plate on him, or our left-handers, and you got to make your own strike zone. You're not going to be, if you're a right-handed hitter, I don't care. You can put 9 strong right-handed hitters up there, and if Chris has got his good control, and he stays in on your hands with a fastball and slider, you're going to lose.
As so many have done.
Some of the best advice you'll ever hear about hitting is try to beat pitchers to their arm side. You're a right-handed hitter, try to beat left-handers to right field, and right-handers to left field. That's up high.
Castro yesterday grounded into a couple of double plays. Had to go along with a strikeout looking, so it was not a banner day for the Cubs shortstop.
Well, both those double plays he thought were going to be base hits. But Alexi thought otherwise.
I was going to say, Alexi had a terrific day defensively yesterday. He covered a lot of grounds. Maybe it was the big game feel, but it seemingly brought out the best in him.
Not too many players have I ever run across, and I'm sure it's a good chance you might feel the same way, but not too many players I've ever run across. They love to play in front of big crowds.
It gives you energy.
Sure it does. It gives you that extra adrenaline.
It doesn't really matter if you're home or on the road. In this case, technically a road game, but a lot of Sox fans in attendance. So you just want to feed off the crowd, and I think every player will tell you about the same thing.
Full count. I have played with a couple of guys and a couple of pitchers that didn't like to pitch in front of big crowds, and they weren't around very long. They didn't last too long. A couple of years, and they were going in. Both of them had pretty good stuff. He gone.
That's the confidence in Chris Sale on that straight change, and I think Castro really couldn't believe it. You're looking for anything, but you're not looking for a straight change at 3-2. He's way out in front of it. Can't believe that Chris would throw that, but that's the confidence he has in that pitch. He believes, and justifiably so, that he can get it over the plate in any situation.
So here's Miguel Montero. 231, 10 homers, and 32 knocked in. Last year with the D-backs at 243, 13 homers, and drove in 72. So this guy, especially for a catcher, is somewhat of an offensive force. There is a fake. Howard coming out of that shoot in a hurry.
Montero just turned 32. He signed an expensive deal with the Diamondback that the Cubs absorbed. This particular position for them might be a bit of a problem. A good problem to have, because they got a youngster by the name of Kyle Schwarber, who is a catcher, and they're trying to give him every opportunity to show that he can catch. There is no doubt he's a powerful left-hand hitter, and he can hit in the major leagues now.
Bit of a quick pitch right there. 96-mile-an-hour fastball fouled away. Now give him that same motion, take a little something off the slide. A little chin music right there.
Just in case he might have been leaning out over the plate, he decided to let him know he was thinking about him.
One on, one out. He gone. That's nasty. 2 down.
This wasn't his best, but it was a 79-mile-an-hour bigger breaking slider than he usually throws. And he had Montero well out in front of it. So that's 3 strikeouts.
Took some off of it, and Montero had no chance. So here is Lester. Gap out there in right center.
John finally got his first base hit in his last start. At the time, he was 0 for 67.
He's 1 for 32. And there's a strike. Backs up, now the long pay. Got it. Now they're going to hold and wait and see if his foot was on the bag.
Well,
and he said he's out. So that will retire the side, and we'll go to the third, leading 2-0.
17th through the 19th. Be sure to arrive early on Saturday, July 18th. See your favorite players from the 2005 World Series Championship parade around the field, presented by your local Ford stores. Together, we'll go further. Purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/promos. Taylor Teagarden comes in the game. Could be a couple of different things. If there's a medical update, we'll let you know, or it could very well be that particular last at bat. And you want a right-hander, not a left-hander, against Sale.
Here's Adam. He started us off in fine fashion with a double in the left center field.
Pitchers get very comfortable with one specific catcher, and for John Lester it was David Ross, but he's suffering some concussion symptoms, so he's on that concussion disabled list.
Seems like everybody wants to throw to David Ross, whatever club he's on.
He's pretty good.
I guess he is.
He's pretty good.
That's a can of corn. And here's Tyler. His first major league hit coming after that double. Trying to get him over, and he does.
He got a fastball out over the plate and split the outfielders, and then that great speed he has got him all the way to third base.
As I mentioned, he impressed everybody last couple of years in spring training with his knowledge of the game, fundamentals, does things right. He's still young at 25. And there's a ground ball on the hole. That's a beautiful play by Castro. That's a talented play by Starling Castro.
That has been the frustration of the Cubs with Castro at times. He has incredible ability. He got up quickly, fired it across, and got a very fast base runner at first base. Doesn't get too much better than this, especially the quickness in what he showed getting the throw off. But then he'll take a routine ground ball, and lack of concentration will cost him an error. But that kind of talent doesn't come around too often.
Here's Abreu. Knocked in a run, and we're going to be taking a couple of tweets throughout the ball game, and we're going to be tweeting. And here's one from at the Brain Watcher. He said, "Will Robin move Abreu back to the 2-hole when interleague is over?" Well, he was doing well, and the team was doing well. But baseball's a day-to-day game. At the Brain Watcher, and Tyler Saladino might have something to say about that. If he impresses Robin and the coaching staff enough to where they think he can certainly hitting that 2-hole because he understands the responsibilities. But it's just according to what he does to where Abreu moves back. Now, if Abreu were to go to him and say, "Look, I want to hit in the 2-hole," he's going to hit in the 2-hole.
Well, I think it originally started because, number one, Robin had an open curtain call for the 2 spot. He put everybody in the 2 spot. Nobody seemed to work out very well, and so you take the guy you consider your best hitter, you put him at the 2 spot where he gets more at bats and maybe more opportunities to drive in runs.
As he strikes him out. So we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. It is still 2-0 Sox.
Hawk at Hawk Harrelson. You can contact me at Steve Stone. And if we get a chance, we will answer. And we've had some interesting ones already.
Here's Addison Russell, 21-year-old second baseman. Hitting at .228, 5 homers, 22 knocked in. He went to the plate in that game yesterday 3 times and he walked 3 times, which is very unusual for a 21-year-old. Especially when you're strong like he is, and he is strong.
And he's going to have to swing it today because Chris is not going to walk him 3 times. Lifetime shortstop, moved to second base to try to get some playing time. They love him here, and why not? He was a #1 prospect in the Oakland organization before coming over for Jeff Samardzija.
Made a couple of good plays yesterday.
There's a look at the Shark, who has saved his best run for when it counts most.
There's the leadoff single. Russell, as I mentioned, is strong, but he's not that strong right there. Jim told me and his son. 612 home runs. No. Addison won't get there.
He'll finish with a few less.
Yeah. Dexter Fowler popped up to Sanchez at second.
Dexter can go get him in the outfield. What he's had a hard time doing is hitting from the left side. He's a switch hitter, .305 right-handed, .211 as a left-hand hitter. But the oddity in that is that 7 of his 8 home runs have come from the left side, so he's not as good a hitter. However, he is much more powerful.
Just looks the second, get the out, and 1 down.
White Sox would like to welcome all University of Illinois alumni, students, and fans to the ballpark on Wednesday, July 22nd. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets, a White Sox Illini hat, and the opportunity to watch batting practice before the gates open. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Illini.
Here's Rizzo. He walked back in the first inning.
There's an example of a dead fastball hitter letting it all go on a pitch where he's looking fastball all the way. If he got anything else, he wouldn't have swung, but he got the fastball at 98 and left nothing to the imagination as he fouled it straight back.
He was just a hair late. The slider just off the plate. Most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, when you get a pitch right down the middle, fastball, a good one, and you foul it back, you're just a hair late. And that's on the center field. There's a case where he probably did not check his outfielders. Meanwhile, one out, runners at the corner.
Rizzo once again got his fastball, this at 97. And he was able to hit it pretty hard. No chance of anybody getting to this, and Russell holding up. Cost the Cubs a run.
Well, when you don't check your outfielders, that's what happens. Probably the biggest sin, baseball sin committed in the game today is that runners don't check the outfield. So here is Bryant. Struck out, called out on a slider, backdoor slider, his first trip.
Bryant, with his good speed, has only grounded into 3 double plays this year.
Had him off balance. That change up. Two and one. If you're just tuning in, we scored 2 quick runs in the first inning before Lester recorded an out. Had a double, a triple, and a single.
Tampa called a straight change, and once again Chris Sale threw it perfectly. Had Bryant well out in front of it.
Well, if he's going to go hard at him, he's got to go right underneath his hands. Just got a piece of it.
Yet another straight change. So he's had Bryant to this point off balance.
There's a word that's just not used enough in hitting for a while now, not just this year. Balance.
That's really the whole key.
Balance is critical. Absolutely critical. There was the fastball. And he got it, for the most part, underneath his hands. He did get a piece of it, though. That fastball at 98. He gone. 2 down.
Well, that time it was up and out of the strike zone, and Bryant unhappy with himself, but as we said the first time, when he looked at a slider for a strike, you're not the Lone Ranger, Chris Bryant. He's going to get a lot of people up there, and with an uppercut swing, you absolutely have no chance on a chest-high fastball.
Talking to Cub people yesterday, they said Chris Bryant is going to strike out a lot. There's no question about that. But he really has a great idea of the strike zone. And when I was watching him hit yesterday, anything underneath his hands, he's going to have problems with.
Well, I think as soon as he realizes what all of the pitchers in this league are trying to do to him, he's a smart enough hitter with enough talent to be able to adjust to whatever this league has. He's just going to get better, and he's really good now.
I don't think there's any. When you can make an all-star team, your first 70 games in the big leagues, that'll tell you something right there.
Really,
and what he will probably do to compensate for that is, as time goes on, as he gets another 1,000 or 1,500 at bats, he'll probably learn how to use shorter arms a little better. Right now, he's a big swinger. 6'6", he's going to have a big swing. If he ever learns to hit with short arms, it's going to be unbelievable what he do in this ballpark.
One question mark is, could he play third base every day in the major leagues? He's got a strong enough arm, quick enough reflexes to either side, and so far the Cubs are pretty happy with what he's shown at third.
That's outside. 2 out, 1 and 2 to count.
Time now for AT&T Uverse Multiview. You're looking at the base runners, Rizzo and Russell at first and third, and Chris Sale trying to get out of this inning and keep the lead at 2-0. But to do that, he's got to get by Jorge Soler, who's back off the disabled list, and one of the young, very talented Cub hitters.
He would not bite at that. So the count 2-2. That's a can of corn, so he's going to get out of it. Big strike right there, big strikeout. Chris Bryant. And we're into the fourth. As Jose Quintana and our Sox lock horns with Jake Arrieta and their Cubs. Coverage begins at 12:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
Jake Arrieta this year has been by far the best of the Cub pitchers.
He wound up last year being the best pitcher there.
He's got what a deal bringing him over from Baltimore, and he's just gotten better and better.
I know one thing, he gives us fits.
He gives a lot of folks fits these days.
I don't know about that, but he sure gives us fits. That's the only time I see him. Here is Cabrera. Struck out his first trip.
Arrieta 9-5 with an ERA of 2.80 in his 17 starts.
Yeah, he's lost some toughies this year. Out in front of that change.
John Lester gave up hits to the first three men he faced. A double, a triple, and a base hit to Eaton, Saladino, and Abreu. After that, he's given up just one single, that to Tyler Flowers, a rocket off the glove of Chris Bryant at third base. So things have settled down for Lester, who carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning last time out against St. Louis, only to lose that game.
Bobby takes a strike. Outfield bunched. Bobby grounded out to Castro.
Miguel Montero lasted just one at bat today before leaving the game, giving way to Taylor Teagarden, who is up here as long as David Ross is experiencing those concussion syndrome. They figure when he's ready to come back, he will come back after the break. And it's going to be a difficult decision, but when I talked to Joe Madden about the catching situation, what David Ross does with John Lester, he said he handles him exceptionally well. He can handle any pitcher very well. But he gave credit to John Orton, who's in our organization, the catching instructor in the Sox organization. He said that John Orton was the best defensive catcher he had ever seen in all of his years in the major leagues, which is high praise.
Yeah, there's a little fister.
2 down.
Yeah, John was a good catcher. Good with the leather, not so good with the lumber.
No, if you're good with both, you spend a long time playing in the major leagues and rewarded handsomely in this day and age.
Alexei went out to Dexter in center field. Dexter fouled.
For those of you who didn't see the scores yesterday, Detroit went into the 9th inning at Minnesota leading 6-1, only to see Minnesota score 7 runs and beat them 8-6, and it's carried over to today because Minnesota's leading 6-0. That game in the bottom of the 3rd. So Detroit experiencing some late game problems, which we figured and everybody else did that they would have, only to come out today and find these red hot Twins once again battering them.
Well, without Miguel Cabrera, that's a different looking ball game. Softly hit. Nice inning right there for Lester. And we'll go to the bottom of the 4th.
Just because you look at some of these other numbers, they're eye-popping. The ERA 180, opponents hitting 167, 121 strikeouts, only 12 walks in 85 innings, and 10-plus strikeouts in 9 starts. That's the most in the major leagues since the early part of May.
Two 2-0 Sox. It'll be Denorfia, Castro, and Teagard. Toronto beat Kansas City 6-2. Ed Kaufman say Mark Burley 10-5, so for the 15th year he's probably, barring injury, going to get over that 200 inning mark with double-digit wins.
Pretty amazing. So Montero left the ball game with a jammed left thumb. Probably saved himself another 2 possibly another 3 strikeouts.
That's deep in the right field. Caught! Yes! Got a good jump, tracked it well, and put it in the left.
This play is not going to be made if not for, number 1, the great jump, and 2, the speed, but also the wind is blowing across. That holds the ball up to right and right center field. And Avi was able to go back and get it. Fine running play, took at least the double away from Denorfia, who's been up twice and hit the ball hard twice.
A single leading off the second inning. That was their first hit. And there's a slider strike to Castro, who struck out on the changeup. A 3-2 changeup. So Alex Gordon for Kansas City is down for a while. He is one of the main players on that club. Castro, 5 homers, 38 knocked in. Similar to Soler, his setup at the plate. And a full count.
I watched Starlin Castro in the Arizona Fall League when he first came up. He hadn't been in the big leagues yet, but the only thing I thought was that he had such good hand-eye coordination that he would put pitchers' pitches in play instead of missing them. It doesn't sound like much, but if you take a ball just off the plate, you put it in play, you ground out to somebody instead of just taking that pitch or missing it like most hitters would do, you're going to pick up a whole lot of opportunities on better pitches. But at that point, you couldn't strike him out very much, and he put a lot of pitchers' pitches in play.
And now they got a shot at it. No. Ball took a funny kick. I guess he
swung at it.
Yeah.
And it was ruled strike 3, but Castro didn't realize it right away, and before Tyler could go back, that ball hits the bricks and bounds away. We'll watch it again. Now Castro doesn't know at this point that he's called out. He also doesn't know that it's the 3rd strike.
Well, he didn't swing at it. But he said he did.
Yeah, he did. But he's on first after the strikeout. And a pass ball.
So here is Teagarden. Takes first pitch strike.
There you look at what he did at AAA, which was pretty good. Taylor originally came out of the Rangers organization, where he was always noted as a guy who could catch it, call it, block it, and throw it very well. A little challenge with the bat, but in AAA he was hitting awfully good, and that's what prompted the call-up.
That's in the right field.
Turn up my mic out.
2 down. And here's Lester.
Joe Madden decided to hit his pitcher in the 8th spot after a long conversation with Tony La Russa. Tony extolling the virtues of this, and That's why Joe decided that this would be a good thing.
Well, the first guy that I saw do it quite a bit, there were two. Whitey Herzog and Dick Williams. That's high. There's the strike. 2 out, 1 and 2 the count. He gone. And we're into the fifth, leading 2-0. Fireworks show presented by Athletico Physical Therapy. Athletico Physical Therapy, better for everybody. So purchase tickets. WhiteSox.com or 866-SOX-GAME.
Oh, look at that. Cub fan and Sox fan bonding over the concession stand.
Top of the fifth inning. Our guys lead it 2-0. 2 quick strike first inning runs. Leadoff double, a triple, and a single. Tyler had an infield single. And it was not your typical infield single. It was a bullet off the glove of Chris Bryant.
It would be really nice to pick up a run or two to aid Chris Sale. This has not been an easy performance for Chris yet. Hasn't had a 1-2-3 inning yet.
And on the other side of that ledger, John Lester has retired the last 8.
Only 1 hit after the first 3 hitters, and that was the man swinging a bat right now.
I'll tell you, this scoreboard operator on balls and strikes, Rick Fuse, has it on that scoreboard before the umpire clicks his clicker.
I think just as that ball hit the dirt, it went up on the scoreboard before it even stuck in the glove of Teagarden.
I mean, it's fun to watch him work. Start us off right here, Tyler.
Now, on the split screen, we'll see just how quickly it gets up there. Pretty much right when that ball hit Teagarden's glove, the three appeared.
That was him. Somewhere in that.
Looks like he's in the witness protection program.
That's a bad pitch. Calls him out on. Bad pitch.
Ball's not in the zone on our Honda pitch tracks, but good enough for Alfonso Marquez. And Tyler, who thought he was going to take a walk, does take a walk, only it's to the bench.
Well, Tyler's been wearing that, having umpires miss 2 strike pitches on him for about maybe 2, possibly 3 weeks now.
Looks like some rain has started to fall.
Sanchez hit into a 6-4-3 double play. Aspen kick foul.
A lot of the fans came prepared. Before we started the game, looking at the weather bug, there was a 100% chance of rain at 3 o'clock and a 100% chance of rain at 4 o'clock. Well, it didn't rain at either point up until just a minute or so ago.
That's inside. 1 out, 2 and 2 the count. Top of the 5th inning. And Rizzo doing exactly what a first baseman should. Keep the pitcher out of the play. Take it yourself.
And the defense that the Cubs have employed, they play Rizzo way off the line at first base. If anything gets by him, it's probably going to be a double, but they figure there's going to be more balls off right-hand hitters go into that hole than there is down the line, and so he's right in the way as Carlos tries to get a base hit to right.
Well, you got to have a very alert right fielder who can throw, and Soler can throw.
He can that.
Here's Chris. He grounded out to Rizzo. Toronto win over Kansas City. Burley went 7 innings, getting 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. 10 and 5 with a 3.34 as Chris goes down. We're halfway home. We lead it 2-0. Dan Hayes from CSN Chicago.com. He informed me before the game that Nate Jones worked an inning, threw 8 pitches. 4 of them were 100 miles an hour.
There was everything wrong with his arm. That's for sure. And if he gets it in the zone, he could be a very valuable member of that pen.
You better believe that. Addison Russell singled into left field. Here's a 1-1 pitch. That's a Torrey Hunter swing. Oh boy.
Well, again, it's one of those where you can't feel too bad about it because you're not the only one this has happened to.
I'll tell you, the more I see of Chris Sale, the more he amazes me as an individual and as a pitcher.
He just has a great feel, and it's very rare that you'll see a guy that can throw change-ups at different speeds, fastball at different speeds, and you can't tell what's coming because he uses the same arm slot, so he has the same release point and the same arm velocity with every pitch. That's a feel for the game that usually doesn't come until maybe 5, 6, 8 years in the league. For Chris, he's had it for a couple of years now, and it's just getting better.
1-2 pitch. Change up. Well, in that clubhouse, Chris Sale is definitely becoming a leader, if not the leader, in that clubhouse. And that's very hard for a pitcher to do. But he's doing it. Mark Burley, in essence, was a leader in that clubhouse. Russell giving him a tussle. That's outside.
Addison Russell's a very impressive young hitter.
Full count. They got a few impressive young hitters over here.
They got
white uniforms.
A few more coming also.
Payoff. Yes, he did. He gone. 7 strikeouts now, 1 out.
Russell tries to check his swing, but he couldn't. Some more high heat. Well, both Chris Sale, Jose Quintana have used that high fastball very well as a strikeout pitch.
It's just a little bit low. Fowler has popped to second and grounded to first. One and 1 to count. And that is into right field for Avi. 2 down.
Sox fans, join us on Saturday, July 18th at 1:10 as our White Sox take on the Royals. The first 20,000 fans ages 21 and over will receive a replica 2005 World Series ring presented by Miller Lite, the official light pilsner and official beer of our Chicago White Sox. Purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com/promo.
Takes first pitch strike. That one just to get me over 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
There you see the rains. Not falling especially hard, but just a nuisance at this point.
That pitch right there is one that you got a better chance to get Rizzo on. Rizzo's got a nice setup at the plate, and it looks like he's got a nice sense of control. There it is. He gone. And this ball game is official. We lead it 2-0. Tyler Saladino and Jose Abreu to face John Lester. Corners in close. That's inside. Adam started us off in the first with a double, a hard double in the left center field. One and one to count. Field. Bunched, swung around to the left, about equidistant. Get him right here. 2-1 pitch. Lester. In his career, 120 wins, 74 defeats. That's plus 46.
Well, as Lester has gotten better and better, Chris Sale doesn't have a whole lot of margin for error. So 12 in a row retired by Lester, who came into it with 16 straight innings without allowing an earned run, and that went by the boards with the first two hitters.
So here's Tyler. Takes a breaking ball strike. Good motion with that changeup. Oh, 0-2. Tried to go right underneath his hands. Two down.
Fans, the First Merit Bank Stadium Club offers a breathtaking view of U.S. Cellular Field and delicious food and beverage options for you to enjoy prior and during White Sox games. Purchase a First Merit Bank Stadium Club membership by calling 312-674-1000.
So here's Jose, RBI single in the first inning, knocking in Saladino, who had tripled, knocking in Eaton, who had doubled. Yanks that one foul.
During the 13-game hitting streak, Jose is hitting .333 with a couple of homers, 3 doubles, 6 driven in and 10 scored. And it's the driven in and scored that are the 2 real important numbers.
That breaking ball yanks that one over into their dugout.
I always try to measure an offensive player using the number 200 as the key. That is, runs driven in and runs scored. If you're 200, you're an absolute star. As you get closer to it, you're really helping your ball club. And Jose, during the course of his career, is going to be in the neighborhood of 200 just about each and every year.
The 1-2 pitch. Tried to get him to chase that changeup, but no. Detroit trying to climb back in. They now trail Minnesota 7-4, top of the 5th at Target Field. He strikes out the side. That is 7 strikeouts now for Lester.
Double-digit strikeouts again. It's been very good early going on the Bryant, looking at a slider. Castro, a changeup. Good slider. Montero goes down. He's only at bat of the day. And then it's Chris Bryant on a high fastball. Addison Russell on a high fastball. And Sale's pitching line is brought to you by American Sale. 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, with just a walk and 3 hits. Chris has absolutely been brilliant once again. At least 6 strikeouts in each of his last 13 games. That's the longest active streak in the major leagues.
Chris Bryant 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. One on the call slider, one swinging on a fastball. And the count 0-1. Tried to backdoor him. He gone. Change up.
Here's our T-Mobile Data Strong fan of the game. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo using hashtag Chicago Data Strong Fan, and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Jorge Soler has popped to first and gone out to right. Change.
Most of these guys have never seen a changeup like this, nor do they expect a 2-0 changeup. That one almost hit him in the knee. Chris Sale, besides his strikeout in his last 13 games, in the last 12 games he's thrown at least 100 pitches, meaning he's been around for a long time. And along with Jeff Samardzija and Jose Quintana, pretty much for Robin, he kept them out of the bullpen till the late stages of the game. And if you can do that, number one, you're going to have a rested pen. Number two, you're going to be able to mix and match and get the guys you want in the situations you want them. And with a strong starting pitching rotation, you're going to get a stronger bullpen.
The ball hit hard, but we got a man there on the track. Norfia's hit it hard 3 times today, and we're in the 7th. Twitter question. Jack Zinski at Jack Zinski says, what's your favorite crosstown cup moment of all time? Well, you got to go back 17 years. Max Ordonez at the plate. And watch this. This is on June 5th. That cost us a run. There's Jose would have scored. We would have won the ball game. Went into extra innings and we lost.
Jose Hernandez did exactly what he had to do. When you lose sight of the ball, you have to throw up your hands instead of fishing around in there trying to get the ball out. Then the ball's in play.
Yeah, that was not Jose. That was Cordero. But right here, Melky Cabrera, top of the 7th inning. Melky is struck out, grounded to short. Yeah, that everybody was really upset after that ball game. 17 years ago. Wow.
That's exactly where you can find us. You can get to Hawk at Hawk Harrelson and me at Steve Stone.
Meanwhile, with that strikeout from the side in the sixth, he's now retired 14 in a row. And here's the 2-2 pitch. There's a bullet, and that'll end that streak. First hit since the leadoff single by Tyler Flowers in the second.
Good way to start off the seventh inning, and good way with the leadoff man aboard to add an insurance run to that 2-0 lead. Even with Chris Sale on the mound throwing great, 2 runs is a precarious lead at best.
Avi has grounded to short and popped up to second. He throws it away.
That's in the dugout.
That is there, and he's going to go to third. Avi's going to go to second. Ducks on the pond, and nobody out.
Well, the first thing that Bryant did was look at second base and realize that Melky was hustling and there was no play there. You see him look over, and it disrupted his throw. He got under it. No chance at all for Rizzo. And so the mistake opens the door.
That's what getting a good lead, trying to beat that play in at second base causes a lot of times, right there.
So for Bryant, that's his 11th error of the year. For the Cubs, that's number 60.
Alfonso Marquez trying to clean up some of that wood from that shattered bat. And here's Alexei. 83 White Sox were the best team I ever saw at getting that big lead at first base, good lead I should say, and beating that play in the second to extend an inning or to start an inning like this. And field in. And ball one. 41,596.
Last time Joe Madden brought his infield in a key situation, Abreu hit a ground ball right through the drawn-in infield and drove home the second run of the ball game. That coming in the first inning.
He's got the catbird seat, 2-0. Tyler Flowers on deck. Turn him loose. He did, and there's the base hit. So they'll knock in one. Avi into third, and it's a 3-0 Sox lead. A blue plate special right there.
RBI number 27 for Alexei. By his own admission, he said he did not have a good first half. He was hoping to turn things around. We saw it yesterday with the glove because he was a big part of the win with the plays he made at shortstop, and now comes through driving home a big insurance run. And wisely, Joe McEwing stops Garcia at third base with nobody out. No reason to send him, and the fact that Denorfia was in very close. So now Chris Bosio comes out. He wants a word with Lester, who's really in his first jam since the first inning. Neil Ramirez starts to get ready. He's another one that came over from the Texas Rangers in the Matt Garza deal. Ramirez, a lot like Grimm, has a good curveball, throws very hard. Russell is joining him in the pen as the Sox trying to pour it on here in the 7th.
One in, nobody out. Runners at the corners, and here is Tyler. He's 1 for 2. Hit a rocket off the glove of Bryant at third base. They'll get the job done. Stretch! Stretch! He looks up. It's off the wall. Alexei's going to be waved around, and it's going to be a 5-0 Sox lead on the boom double off the bat of Tyler Flower.
This is only the second ball in 2 days we've seen hit over an outfielder's head as far as the Sox are concerned. They've hit some line drives. They've hit some balls between the outfielders, but Adam Eaton's double leading off the ball game, and this double here with nobody out in the 7th, getting over the head of Dexter Fowler. Tyler just obliterated that baseball, and it didn't leave the park.
Carlos can't get that breaking ball down and in. This hit hard but foul. Well, that just again goes to show you what good base running can do for you. Melky with that good lead, forced the play at first, and he threw it away. Broke the continuity. Checks it up. The 1-2 pitch. Down and in. And that's out number 1. Eight strikeouts now for Lester. So here's Chris. Chris is grounded to first and struck out. Outfield short, swung around to the left. Pretty good rip. To the count.
Adam in the on-deck circle. It was his double to left center field. It started the 2-run first inning. Lester with pitch number 108 forthcoming.
pitched nicely. Count hangs at 2-2. 5-0 Sox here in the top of the 7th inning.
Well, Joe McEwing is looking at Tyler Flowers, telling him to extend to your lead because nobody is paying attention to you.
And a full count. Lester wants to talk to Teagard. Right here, Chris. Stay with it. That ball hit well, but Soler backs up. A good at bat for Chris Sale. 2 down.
I think Chris is going to be real happy with that. He got a smile on his face. He knew he got just about everything he could get out of that one, but couldn't get it over Soler's head. It's a fastball right down the middle, and Chris didn't exactly go into his home run trot, but he knew that he hit the ball pretty well.
So here's Adam Eaton. Adam started off this ball game in terrific fashion for us with that hard double in the left center field. And then if you're just tuning in, Tyler Saladino picked up his first major league hit, RBI, and run scored when he tripled into right center field trying to get him over. Out of play left side. Was at 1. Minnesota 7-4 lead over the Tigers. A game now in the top of the 6th. As we mentioned, tomorrow will be Kansas City in Kansas City 6-2. Mark Burley 10-5 the winner. Three big runs here in the top of the 7th. Leadoff single, then the arrow. An RBI single and a 3-0 pitch to Alexei, and then the bullet double into center field over the head of Dexter. Dexter Fowler plays shallow center field, which is good. I'd say he's got a lot of confidence.
Especially with the fact that the ball's just not carrying today and the wind is blowing across. It's a little cooler than normal at the ballpark. And you're not getting much carry because there's been a couple of balls hit hard, but nothing going. So apparently John Lester and Taylor Teagard are not on the same page as far as what they want to do.
Well, I love to see center fielders play shallow. They're going to get burned every now and then. There's no question about that. But every time they do, they're going to take a lot of hits away in front of them. 1-2 2. That soft fly ball in the left field. But that crooked number goes up on the board. 7th inning stretch. We lead at 5-0. As the Fire hosts the Western Conference leading Seattle Sounders, coverage begins at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet, and the Spanish broadcast will be available on CSN Plus. Nothing Sox here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Starling Castro 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. Takes ball 1. One and 2. Chris with 1 walk, coming to Rizzo in the first, and 9 strikeouts. The ball hit hard for a base hit.
Join White Sox Charities at A Season to Remember, a night with the 2005 World Series champions on Sunday, July 19th at the Chicago Theater. Hear directly from the members of the 2005 team as they take a look back on their historic World Series run. To purchase tickets, visit WhiteSoxCharities.org.
All right, Chris, you got to maintain. You got to maintain, buddy. Maintain that intensity. Forget about those 3 we just picked up. As here is Teagard. My former partner, Hall of Famer Don Drysdale. Every time a situation like this popped up, you're in a close ball game, your team scored 2 or 3 runs for you. He said it took him a long time to learn that you had to maintain and still treat it like it was a 0-0 game.
Cubs bullpen up and going once again as they get down closer to the spot occupied by John Lester, so he'll undoubtedly be taken down.
That's number 10. He gone.
Jonathan Herrera is going to come on the pinch hit as you look at double digits once again for Chris Sale. That's the 9th time in the last 10 games. Only last time out when he went the distance against Toronto did he fail to get double digits, denying him the record all by himself, one that he shares with Pedro Martinez.
So here's Herrera. Rips that one by Saladino down into the corner. So now they're going to wave him around. There's a throw off the mark. And it's a 5-1 ball game.
Cubs do finally break through against Chris Sale. Herrera now 4 for 16 as a pinch hitter, and like most pinch hitters will do, they come up looking fastball on the first pitch, and if they get it, they turn it loose. That's the first run driven in as a pinch hitter for Herrera, his 11th overall.
That's into center field, right at Eaton. So 1 out. Check that, 2 out. Struck out Teagard.
So Lester goes 7 innings, gives up 5 runs, 4 of them earned on 7 hits, striking out 8 and not walking anybody. And going head to head with Chris Sale, Chris has the best of it to this point.
Here's Fowler. Dexter 0 for 3 today. There's that backdoor slider. That is so nasty. The hitter, you just got to put that out of your mind because you're not going to do anything with it either. You can look for it and get it. And there's a 2-hop. Throws him out, guns him out. That'll be Tyler out, but they get on the board, and we'll go to the 8th, leading 5-1.
Brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's our Miller moment. Tyler Saladino with his first major league hit, his first run driven in. Second hitter of the game, a triple, made it 1-0 at the time, giving the Sox the lead. And there's a look at Tyler Saladino. Neil Ramirez comes in the ball game after 7 from John Lester. On for the 10th time. He's on the disabled list this year. He's 1-0. His ERA up over 5. Only thrown a total of 5 1/3. But the 8 strikeouts will tell you that he's got great stuff. The 4 walks will tell you that he's still a little rusty after coming off the DL. Coming over from Texas, along with Justin Grimm. He's got a big arm.
Outfield bunched again. I like the positioning that the Cubs outfielders use and employ.
Well, they figured down the line you're going to get a 2-base hit anyway, so they take away the alleys.
Exactly.
Yeah. You might as well take away the alleys.
Whitey Herzog was just true. Whitey Herzog was a manager for a few teams, won a few. Steady safe.
Well, to the eye, it looked like he might have had him at first base, but it was a terrific play by Bryant anyway. Saladino with very, very good speed, and now they're checking it out. And the question is, what do the Cubs people say? To me, he's out, and he's out by plenty. That's what it looked like to the naked eye, and so I don't think this is going to take long.
Yeah, in real time, it looked like they got it.
That was an outstanding play by Chris Bryant, and Tyler Saladino robbed of his second hit of the day. Even though they called him safe, this one will be overturned. We're pretty certain of that. Big effort by Bryant at third base. You could only come in off the wet grass, the bare hand pick up and throw in the same motion, and he did get him. Now they're going to take it off, and they're going to call him out. That one, the proverbial no-brainer.
And push it a little further. That run Cubs scored in the 7th. That ends a 30 scoreless inning stretch by Sox pitching. 30 scoreless innings.
And it's been exceptional in the starting rotation, and everybody coming out of the bullpen has done the job.
Way you pops it up, Rizzo.
Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night. They all happen in one place, and this year it's Cincinnati. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox.
That 30 scoreless inning streak was the longest White Sox streak since 1986.
One of the things it shows you is that if your starters go deep into the game where you can match up your relievers at the end, you're probably going to have a very good run out of the bullpen. And the starters have been magnificent, as has the pensmen.
And with the specter of Nate Jones, in case you did not hear, just tuned in, he threw an inning, threw 8 pitches, 4 of them at 100 miles an hour. Courtesy of Dan Hayes, CSNChicago.com. Call that one a strike. 2-1 to count. And Melky started off that 3-run 7th with a single. Bullet in the hole from third and short. And it was great to see John Vincent earlier. Where's he been? John, you love to see him belt out the national anthem. So there's ball 4.
Jake Petrichka loosening in the pen. We saw Jake yesterday. Rendon went 6. Then it was Petrichka for 1, Duke for 1, Robertson for 1. And nice talking to you folks. Come again tomorrow.
Here's Avi. He's 0 for 3. Yanks that one foul. Finale tomorrow afternoon. We'll have it for you right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Quintana against Arrieta.
That's another great pitching matchup.
2 good pitchers. Goes. There's the throw. He's safe.
That one looked like it might have gotten a piece of Melky on its way into second base. The throw was off target. Melky would like timeout. It will be acknowledged by Tom Hallion.
First stolen base.
Now he could get used to this. The flying feet of Melky. He looks back, so wants to see if there's any contact, and I think the contact was with his right arm.
And it's a base hit. He's gonna wave him around. Here's the throw. He gone. Beautiful tag right there. By Northfield. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still a 5-1 Sox lead. Good guys. $41,596 in the park. And a lot more And this game started on the rooftops outside the park.
It'll be interesting at the 112 pitch mark if Robin just lets him face Rizzo and then goes to Petrichka. Because you got the right-handers, Bryant, Soler. Denorfia will probably be taken down for Coghlan if they go to a right-hander. And then Castro. That's probably enough pitches for Chris Sale with a 4-run lead here in the 8th. But if Chris is feeling good, and Robin, I'm sure, consults with him, we'll see if he does indeed let him go after Rizzo.
I think Robin knows by now that Chris, what a competitor he is. He doesn't want to come out, but also he knows that Chris will tell him. There's a breaking ball just over the head of the shift. Chris will tell him. And here he comes. So he's going to make a change here.
Not many lefties are going to wind up with 2 hits against Chris Sale. But Rizzo is not your usual left-hander. He's an all-star, and he had a very good day. So Chris is going to exit the 115 pitch mark, and it's going to be Jake Petrichka coming in the ball game to face a succession of right-handers. So as Jake comes in, we'll step out. Be back after these messages. Came on yesterday to pitch the 7th inning. He gave up a base hit leading off the 7th to Coghlan, and then because of that sinker, he threw a double play ground ball and a strikeout. Got him out of a scoreless 7th. So on for the 36th time. He's 3-2. His ERA, which has been plunging, is now at 2.90. And he's looking for another one of those ground balls and turn a pair, but he's got to face Bryant, Soler, and most likely Coghlan for Denorfia. Adam LaRoche checks in the game. It's a flip-flop batting order. So Adam will go into the spot vacated by Chris Sale. That's the 9th spot in the batting order, and he will be due up 4th in the 9th.
Bryant is glad to see Chris Sale gone. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Got him on a backdoor slider, got him on a fastball, and got him on a changeup. Short lead by Rizzo.
That was a high fastball, top of the zone. Just as Chris Sale got him in a pitch up there, Jake Petrichka throws one by him.
Pass off the outside corner. So the count 2-1 to the 23-year-old. 6'6". Third baseman.
That time threw him a changeup and fooled him, not with location but velocity.
don't see many 6'6" third baseman. Troy Glaus, 6'5". Leaves off that one. So a full count. That's a fair ball. They get the lead runner. Tyler just was able to get the ears on that to make the throw. So 1 out.
Wise choice by Carlos. This is a good play because the back foot is slipping. He gets it there, and Carlos realizing that Rizzo's coming in hard, and he just backs away, doesn't take the contact because you're not going to get the throw off anyway.
And a nice 3-2 changeup to Bryant. So here's Soler. He's 0 for 3. Ouch.
That one knocked him down in the batter's box. He's got the pad on his shin, as you see. And when you get hit in the knee, that shin guard doesn't help very much.
Oh, 1 to count. Bryant 8 for 10 in stolen bases. Rizzo 12 for 17 in stolen bases. Fowler 12 for 16 in stolen bases. They had 57 stolen bases. Thrown out 21 times.
Putnam Adu loosening in the pen. For the moment, Denorfia is still in the batter's box. In the on deck circle.
Close pitch, didn't get it.
Big going after
strike
it.
on Tyler Flowers earlier. Comes in, takes the out. 2 down.
Slug your way to the Home Run Derby crown and master the free award-winning game millions are playing. Download MLB.com Home Run Derby free on your App Store and Google Play.
So here's Denorfia. He's been in the plate 3 times and hit it hard 3 times.
He was one of the, probably the only guy in his lineup that wasn't fooled at all by Chris Sale, which is saying a whole lot because Chris has fooled most of them this year.
First at bat, he lined a hard single in the center. Next at bat, Bobby got a great jump, had to go a long way deep, made the catch in right field. And in his last at bat in the 6th inning, took out a meeting almost on the track, dead away center. One and 1 to count. Yanks that one foul. If you're just tuning in, We scored 2 quick runs in the first inning off John Lester. Double by Eaton, a triple by Saladino. That was his first major league hit, an RBI. And then an RBI single by Abreu knocking in Saladino. Be gone. Good job by the Jakemeister. And we're into the 9th leading 5-1.
Replays, and it started early with the double by Eaton. Then the triple by Saladino. John Lester didn't have a chance to even get his feet under him before he was down 2-0. First 3 hitters, 2-0, and that would have been enough to this point as Edwin Jackson comes in the ball game for the 23rd time. He's 2-1. His ERA .330. He's yet to allow a home run.
Castro, yeah, there's all kinds of ways to be down 2-0 early, but when you get down to 2-0 to Chris Sale or Clayton Kershaw
or any of the real good ones, you've got some problems.
That puts a pall, so to speak, on the whole ball club. You get down 2-0 to Jimmy Jones, you don't care. Sammy Smith. Tyler 2 for 3 with 2 big RBIs. He just, I mean, absolutely melted one into center field. Just killed it over the head of Dexter Fowler for a 2-run double. Hit a shot off the glove of Bryant at third base for a hit. Takes the strike. That game tomorrow, it's a 1:20 start. And we'll have it for you right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Jose Quintana against Jake Arrieta. 2 good pitchers.
That's what it looks like. Arrieta's been terrific, 2.80 ERA. Jose's been also terrific, despite the 4-8 record. His ERA, 3.69. Both have great control. Both are strikeout pitchers.
For them in the bottom of the 9th, schedule hitters are Castro, Teagarden. The first 2. Got him. 2 down. And if you're just tuning in, did not see it, Sale went 7 innings, giving up 1 run on 6 hits, 1 walk, had 10 strikeouts, double digits once again. 9 out of the last 10 starts.
It's been pretty amazing the run that he's on.
He's a pretty amazing guy. He is a pretty amazing guy in a lot of ways. Not just baseball. Taylor, put some leather on it.
At least slow it down.
That's up high. 3-0 the count. Carlos 0 for 3. There's one. There's 2. There's a shot. Fair ball down into the corner. So he will pull in the second. That's his 7th to back.
This fastball on the outer third and a rifle shot into left field.
So here's Adam making his first plate appearance. Big out. Extra foul. Got the bead, the ball, and that'll retire the side. 2-out double goes for naught. Meanwhile, we'll go to the bottom of the 9th, leading by 4. the biggest party of the summer. Visit csnchicago.com/Lala to enter for your chance to win today.
Jake Petrichka still out on the mound after a pretty solid 8th inning. Chris Sale facing Anthony Rizzo gave up the base hit, and then Jake came on. Got a couple of ground outs and a strikeout to get out of the 8th inning, and got himself a 4-run lead heading into the 9th. Zach Duke is still throwing and ready to go in case he's needed.
Here's Castro. He's 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Just getting home tuning in. We caught a big break here today, according to the radar. An hour before the game, looked like we were in big trouble.
Storm clouds heading this way. Looked like right over the ballpark, and it said 100% at both 3 and 4 o'clock. We did have some real light misting rain, but not too much. And the game has been going on with no delays.
No walks, cannot get it. 3-1 to count. And there's one, so it's full. Gap out there in left center. And the payoff pitch. Good lead off ball. So here's Teagarden. Takes first pitch strike.
And just in case Robertson starts to loosen up ever so slightly.
Very quickly, 0-2.
Miguel Montero started this game and left after 1 at bat with a jammed thumb. David Ross on the concussion disabled list. That means that Taylor Teagarden is the last catcher, and that's one of the reasons why he is hitting in this situation.
And Chris Coughlin on deck. All right, boys. All right, boys. Rack 'em up. Yeah. 2 down.
If you throw sinkers, you've got a great opportunity for double plays. Yesterday, Sox turned 5 of them. Jake threw 1 of them. And now he throws his second in 2 games. Nice. 4-6-3. And here comes Robin. He's bringing in, I believe, Zach Duke.
That's who it is.
To face Chris Coughlin. So here comes Zach. Jake did a whale of a job as he exits. We'll step out and be back after these messages. yesterday's game. Walked 1, fanned 3. There you look at the numbers, on for the 39th time. And he's looking in at Chris Coughlin, who made the last out of the ball game yesterday on a line drive rocket right at Carlos Sanchez.
Sanchez made a beautiful play, a beautiful catch on that hard hit shot. One and one to count. Once again, a reminder, Jose Quintana against Jake Arrieta tomorrow in the game right here on Comcast Sports, and then the finale of this 3-game set. So the Cubs down to their last bullet. 2 out, 1 and 2 to count. Got him, and this ball game is over. So the Sox pitching had a 30 consecutive inning scoreless streak snap as the Cubs scored 1 in the 7th. But the pitching has just been absolutely magnificent, and the defense is starting to come around, and who knows? Who knows? And let's check out our player of the game. You're looking at it.
It is Chris Sale. 7+ innings. Gave up just 6 hits. The 1 earned run. 1 walk. 10 strikeouts. 10 or more strikeouts for the 9th time in the last 10 starts. It's unbelievable. And Chris had just exceptional stuff once again. Took him a while to get that first 1, 2, 3 inning. But he finally was able to do that in the 5th. These Cubs made it tough for a while.